Hi everyone, welcome back to another exciting lecture. In this lecture, we will see what are the different type of variables that Ruby provides. The types of the variables are on the base of the scope where they are accessible. So Ruby provides three main types of the variables. One is the global variable, instance variable, and the class-based variable. Okay, so I will be explaining one by one what are the differences between all of these variables. So let's start with the global variable. Global variable, the word global, as you can see, you can assume from the global word what does it mean. It means that any variable which is defined as a global variable is accessible at every part of the of that file. For example, if I define a variable globally, and defining a variable globally means that it should not be in the scope of anything. You can define the global variables at the topmost level of a file. Let's say if I write name equal Ruby. So this is a variable whose value is Ruby. But right now it is not a global variable. To make it a global variable, there is a reserved character that we have to add before the name of the variable, which is the dollar sign. So dollar name is now the global variable, and it is accessible inside any class, any method, anything that is inside in this file. We can access this global variable at every level. So let's see, is this correct or not. So I will write over here. Okay, so this is the string interpolation thing. I can simply write hashtag and after that name of the variable, and it will simply add the name or value that is present inside this variable to this string. Alright, so I have two classes with the method of print hello. I am using the values from the global variable, and over here I am creating an object, and from that object I am calling the method which is the print hello. Let's see what will be the output of this. Alright, so voila, you can see if I run this code, I am getting hello world Ruby. Hello world and the word Ruby came from this global variable. So this is all when it comes to the global variable. It is very easy, very simple to use, and usually it is not recommended to use global variable, but in some cases is you can use, but try to minimize the usage of the global variables. Alright, so the next one is the instance variable. So before going into the instance variable, let me tell you what do you mean by the instance. Whenever we create an object of a class by this thing like the class name dot new, it is creating the object which is in Ruby terms called as the instance of this class. So what do you mean by instance? Means we can access the all of the methods and variables inside of this class by using the instance of this class. For example, one thing key notice, let me remove this and let us go back to the original state. Okay, I don't need this class anymore. Okay, so class instance variable, one thing that you must know, that the instance variable defined inside of a class, and inside it is defined inside of a class. Let's see what will happen if I write this dollar name dash ruby, and over here I will use dollar name. What will happen? Okay, so you see it write hello world, and over here it should have write a ruby, but it didn't write ruby. What it's wrong over here? Okay, so here comes the instance variable. So for instance variable, notice that the variable name must start with the single at the rate symbol, so that the Ruby will automatically know that this is the instance variable. So to use the instance variable inside of a class, there is a method. It should be defined inside of a method. Usually and conventionally, there is a method which is called initialize. Initialize method is called the constructor of this class. And whenever we create an instance of a class, it is basically creating the calling the it is first calling the constructor, and after calling the constructor it will create the object or instance of this class. You can override the value of that constructor by writing your own initialize method. Let's see how we can do it. It is simple. Def initialize and it is the reserved keyword. The name of this method should be initialized so that the Ruby knows that it is a constructor of this class. And inside of this, if I move this code over here, and now if I try running it, then it will print hello world and Ruby. Let's see what will happen. So you see now the output is hello world Ruby, because that's how the instance variable is created. When another benefit of the instance variable is that you can pass the variables by whenever we are creating the instance of a variable. So that is a focused instance variable. What do I mean by that? Like if I create, let's see, I will lay down this obj first class dot new and obj dot print hello. For example, if I can pass this over here, like I will pass this mic, and over here I can accept this with the argument of name, and I will make it equal to name. So what is going on over here? First, it is a class. I am calling dot new. It is calling the initialize method, and I am passing it as an argument. The argument will be taken as name, and I am assigning this name value to the instance variable name, and then I am using this inside other method of the class. Let's run and try what will be the output. So you see now it is hello world mic. So this is the concept of an instance variable. It is accessible within a particular instance of a class. That's how the thing works. For example, this obj is the one instance of this class, and let's say if I create another instance, if I create first 10.new and I will change it to, if I do this and obj2 dot print hello, let's see what will be the output. You see, this constructor requires an argument. If I write over here this, clear it, run again. Okay, so you see the value of mic is only available in this instance of this class. That's what does it mean by the instance variable, because it is only the scope of this variable only limited to the particular instance of this class. And if I create another object, it is creating another instance with the value name, and that's how the thing works. Next, I hope everything is clear for the instance variables. Next thing is the class based variable. So the class based variable starts with the double @ symbol. Okay, so class based symbol is the class based variables are the variables that are accessible throughout all the instances of the particular class. So what I mean by that? For example, I am removing this method. I don't need it. I will simply write this print hello world, and I don't need it now. Let's do this simple. And I will call it another method. So it will simply, if I print this, and it is simply write hello world, as simple as that. So what do I mean by the instance variable class? What does it mean by that class variables are shareable among all the instances of that class? For example, and the class based variables are defined at the top level. It must be defined at the top. Usually it is preferred to define it at the top. And let's define a class variable which is start with the double @ and then number of, let's say I will say number of calls. Initialize it with the 0. So whenever it prints something, I will simply append 1 to this number of calls. And let's say to check the value, I will, let's say, print calls value and inside that I will simply pour number of calls. Okay, so let's see what will be the output of this thing. I will call this, let's say, 5 times, sorry, yeah, it is 5 time, and upon on the 6th time I will see what is the value of the number of calls. Okay, if I run this, so you see at the start it is 0. This is the first instance when it is called. It is increment 1, second, third, fourth, 5, fifth. That uh, that means that this value at the rate number of calls is accessible, is available at every instance of this class. That's why they are able to increment this from the previous value. It doesn't initialize it with the 0. That is why when I print the value of the print call, this is it give us 5, because the class variables are available at every instance of the class. That's how things work in a class variable. I hope everything is clear. Just to give you a brief definition, global variables are the variables that are accessible at every level of the class, and it is usually starts with a dollar sign. Instance variables are those variables that are accessible within the particular instance of that class, and it is start with the at the rate symbol. And class variables are those that are accessible throughout all the instances of that particular class, and the class variable starts with double at the rate. I hope you have understood all of these concepts about the variables. Still, if you have any queries, let me know in the comment section and I will be there for you. Thank you.